Mainstream media systematically profits off the myth of the unshakable celebrity marriage. Yet, behind the closed doors of their pristine mansions, a silent predator of isolation and immense temptation is constantly dismantling these unions from the inside out. When the intense pressure of fame collides with a deep-seated lack of connection, the resulting sudden drop shatters the curated illusion in the blink of an eye. Husbands stepping out into scandalous betrayals while their wives are pregnant, and women enduring the raw agony of psychological and physical mistreatment for decades behind invisible walls of silence. This is an uncompromising forensic analysis of 23 shocking Hollywood love stories that completely crumbled under the weight of infidelity, deceit, and systemic corruption. Once the heavy historical archive is opened, you will never look at these golden couples the same way again. The romantic, swelling orchestral melody of a blockbuster Hollywood romance movie is violently compressed and sliced open, instantly replaced by the cold, mechanical whir of an entertainment television camera zooming in on a public divorce filing. Chris Rock and Malik Compton Rock. Mode D, the systemic critique. Look directly through the elite lens of corporate Hollywood comedy and witness how an unchecked ascent to global superstardom can function as a systemic blade that silently severs a 20-year human bond. In 1996, legendary comedian Chris Rock and brilliant social activist Malik Compton were celebrated as Hollywood's absolute golden couple, stepping into a dream wedding wrapped in the golden illusion of an unbreakable family dynasty. But as Rock's fame skyrocketed, corporate handlers and a grueling international touring schedule built invisible walls between him and his family, leaving Malik completely isolated to manage their charitable organizations and raise their children entirely alone. Behind the curtain of public adoration, the entertainment industry offered a volatile environment filled with endless backstage temptations, inviting a silent predator of emotional emptiness into Rock's private world. The Las Vegas exposure. This dark parallel universe suffered an explosive, earth-shattering sudden drop in 2012 when Rock was caught with a famous actress in a luxury Las Vegas hotel. Confronted by his wife's tears, the comic icon could only lower his head and weakly mutter that an internal void had driven his actions, an excuse that offered zero protection against the raw agony of her broken trust. Though Malik attempted to execute a survival strategy of forgiveness, the cycle of infidelity refused to slow down. By 2015, another string of highly suspicious text messages exposed the truth. His family life had been treated as nothing more than a late-night joke. Recognizing the limits of her endurance, Malik officially filed for divorce in August 2016, leaving an unfillable void where a 20-year legacy should have thrived. Rock later weaponized his own shame on a comedy stage, confessing his immense stupidity to millions, but the reality remains permanent tabloid fodder. Fame gives a man the world while quietly tricking him into destroying everything he loves. The deafening, uproarious laughter of a sold-out stadium comedy special is compressed and violently cut short, instantly replaced by the dull, echoic sound of a single set of house keys being left behind on a cold granite kitchen counter. Eric Benet and Halle Berry. Mode B, the reverse tragedy. Look at the cold, clinical text of a January 2005 legal filing, where Halle Berry officially dissolved her marriage, ending a highly publicized union buried in an unfillable void of broken trust. This public disgrace stood in brutal contrast to the golden illusion of 2001, when she stood proudly beneath dazzling stage lights as Hollywood's ultimate goddess of beauty, marrying R&B singer Eric Benet in a wedding that captivated the entire entertainment industry. But the extreme pressure of balancing an elite acting career allowed an invisible enemy of intense isolation to quietly dismantle their home life behind the scenes. While Berry spent exhausting months on blockbuster film sets to build their future, Benet harbored a growing resentment at home, allowing his private life to spiral into a dark parallel universe of uncontrollable behavior. The phone confrontation. The systemic blade of his hidden life ripped the veil of deception off completely in 2004, when Berry stumbled upon a string of highly suspicious text messages from another woman on his phone. Cornered by her furious gaze, Benet awkwardly tried to claim it was a harmless conversation, before breaking down to execute a shocking confession. "I think I have a sex addiction." Her tearful screams shattered the quiet of their mansion as she rejected his excuses, refusing to let his infidelity become her fault. though she desperately tried to save him by pushing him into an intense rehabilitation facility. The raw agony of the betrayal became permanent tabloid fodder. Eric Benet had held the heart of an immortal cultural icon, but his complete lack of self-control executed the marriage, proving that even the most glamorous romance cannot survive a silent predator operating in the dark. The thunderous, synchronized applause celebrating a historic Oscar victory is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the repetitive, cold typing of a lawyer finalizing divorce paperwork in a silent office. Terrence Howard and Laurie McComas. Mode I, the ripple of one choice. Trace the catastrophic timeline of an actor's romantic life cycle back to a single, fateful decision made in a small New York apartment in 1989. When Terrence Howard wed Laurie McMasters, he looked into her eyes and executed a series of dream-filled promises to build a lifetime of absolute harmony. But the moment his cinematic career exploded in the late 1990s, he chose to let the intense allure of a forgiving spotlight override his marital foundations, inviting a silent predator of isolation into his household. While Laurie was left marooned behind invisible walls raising 3 young children alone, Howard surrendered to backstage temptations. This singular path of selfishness triggered an earth-shattering sudden drop in 2001 when he confessed to an affair with a young actress, lamely claiming that the crushing pressure of sudden fame had made him weak. The remarriage trap. Though Laurie endured the raw agony of his betrayal and offered a strategic second chance, the cycle of infidelity became an unyielding, merciless foe. She filed for divorce in 2003, but Howard desperately begged for a fresh start, weaponizing the well-being of their children to pull her back into the golden illusion by remarrying her in 2005. The systemic trap closed again just 1 year later when Laurie unearthed another string of illicit love messages on his phone. Realizing he would never change, she executed a final, permanent escape by filing for a second divorce in 2007. Their toxic romance became permanent tabloid fodder, proving that a single choice to prioritize personal ego over a sacred vow can hollow out a family, leaving nothing but an unfillable void and a haunted legacy. The romantic, overlapping vows of a classic candlelit wedding ceremony are compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the sharp, metallic echo of a heavy courtroom gavel finalizing a second divorce decree. Ike Turner and Tina Turner. Mode B, the reverse tragedy. Look upon the triumphant, global icon standing proudly beneath a forgiving spotlight in the 1980s, her powerful voice filling stadiums and her indomitable spirit inspiring millions around the world. This monumental peak of cultural supremacy stands in brutal, heartbreaking contrast to the dark parallel universe she escaped on a hot July night in 1976. Tina Turner, born Anna Mae Bullock, fled a stifling hotel room after a final, explosive episode of violence, taking absolutely nothing with her except a few personal items and exactly 36 cents in her pocket. For over a decade, she had been trapped behind invisible walls, wrapped in the golden illusion of a legendary musical partnership, while enduring a relentless systemic blade of horrific physical and psychological abuse executed by her husband, Ike Turner. The face of abuse. Ike was a certified musical powerhouse, but behind the closed doors of their dressing rooms, his erratic behavior and deep-seated dependency on narcotics turned him into a merciless foe. The raw agony of their union reached a public breaking point in 1968, when Tina discovered his blatant infidelity. When confronted, Ike showed zero remorse, coldly justifying his betrayal by claiming he needed to feel loved because she dedicated all her time to the stage. His unyielding aggression turned even more savage in 1971. After a failed recording session, he violently threw a heavy studio microphone straight into Tina's face in front of onlookers, shouting that without him, she was an absolute nothing, though she repeatedly forgave him out of a distorted sense of gratitude. His double life with a singer in his own band in 1974 finally shattered her endurance. Their toxic romance became permanent tabloid fodder, leaving an unfillable void in Ike's legacy as he drowned in addiction and died in isolation in 2007, while Tina rose from the rubble to prove that true genius can never be permanently silenced. The thunderous, soulful vocal harmony of a chart-topping R&B duet is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the heavy, metallic clatter of a studio microphone striking the floor in an empty, darkened recording room. Do Die, 418-2, Dwayne Martin and Tisha Campbell. Mo J, The Social Media Illusion. Look past the bright, nostalgic Instagram posts celebrating 1990s television royalty, where a picture-perfect public persona masks a toxic marriage crumbling behind closed doors. To the mainstream public, Tisha Campbell, the breakout powerhouse star of Martin, and her actor husband, Dwayne Martin, stood wrapped in the golden illusion of a flawless, supportive Hollywood dynasty. They stood beneath dazzling stage lights for over 2 decades, celebrated as symbols of absolute marital success. But as a storytelling director, I compel you to pierce this glamorous mask, because behind their synchronized red carpet smiles lay a dark parallel universe where financial deceit and hidden relationships were silently creeping into their home life. In 2012, the first crack appeared when Tisha unearthed a highly suspicious message on Dwayne's phone. Cornered by her questions, he executed a cold, evasive survival strategy, shrugging off the betrayal and claiming she was simply overthinking things. For the sake of love and their 2 children, Tisha chose to avoid the truth, forcing herself to maintain the public illusion while an invisible enemy systematically hollowed out her trust. The bankruptcy exposure. The systemic blade of his hidden life slashed through their foundations entirely in 2015 when scandalous rumors of Dwayne's affairs with a young businesswoman spread like wildfire at upscale Hollywood parties. When Tisha confronted him a second time, his evasive gaze completely gave him away. But the most earth-shattering sudden drop hit when legal financial audits exposed a crushing reality. Dwayne had been secretly hiding hundreds of thousands of dollars in private bank accounts, actively planning a life separate from his family. Her tearful screams shattered the quiet of their mansion as she realized the man she trusted above all others had treated her like an absolute stranger. Dwayne simply shot back with cold arrogance, claiming he was exhausted living in her celebrity shadow. Unable to endure the raw agony of his deception, they quietly separated for 3 painful years before Tisha officially filed for a bitter, highly publicized divorce in 2018. Their relationship dissolved into a chaotic media frenzy of financial disputes, leaving an unfillable void where a legendary love story should have lived, proving that the most glamorous unions can be built entirely on a foundation of lies. The cheerful, jazzy theme song of a classic 90s black television sitcom is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the dry, clinical sound of a bank vault door being mechanically locked in absolute silence. Kobe Bryant and Vanessa Bryant. Mode F, the inanimate observer, stare through the cold, glass lens of a high-definition television camera positioned on the sidelines of an elite NBA arena. For nearly 2 decades, this unblinking electronic eye recorded Kobe Bryant, a transcendent basketball powerhouse. Wrapped in the golden illusion of athletic supremacy, multi-million-dollar contracts, and absolute domestic bliss with his wife, Vanessa. At their 2001 wedding, he proudly stood beneath a forgiving spotlight and vowed to protect his family with his very life. But the sideline camera also captured the silent, agonizing breakdown of that perfect image. Long before the world noticed, a silent predator of immense isolation crept into his private world. While Vanessa was completely marooned behind invisible walls managing their high-profile household and public image, Kobe navigated the harsh, glamorous terrain of professional sports entirely alone. The camera lens watched their passionate late-night conversations dissolve into a routine of exhaustion, driving the icon to seek comfort in a dark parallel universe of hidden affairs. The sideline scandal. The systemic blade of public scrutiny triggered a devastating sudden drop in 2003 when Kobe was hit with a high-profile sexual assault accusation in Colorado, turning their private trauma into global tabloid fodder. The camera recorded the exact moment Vanessa sat beside him at a frantic press conference, her eyes masking an unyielding raw agony as Kobe bowed his head and publicly confessed to betraying her trust. Though a civil settlement kept him behind invisible walls of legal protection, their home life remained severely fractured. The cycle of deceit reached another breaking point in 2010 when highly sensitive photos and messages exposing another relationship were unearthed. Confronted by Vanessa's fury, a red-eyed Kobe went silent, weeping that his affairs were merely a desperate corporate survival strategy to feel loved and understood. Vanessa ultimately chose to stand by him, utilizing an intense emotional resilience to navigate the broken pieces of their love. Their complicated journey was permanently frozen in time by the tragic helicopter crash in 2020, leaving behind an unfillable void where a redeemed life should have thrived. The energetic, roaring cheers of a sold-out championship arena are compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the low, heavy hum of a single television camera panning across a completely empty, darkened court. Kevin Hunter and Wendy Williams. Moda, the forensics study a heavily smudged glass window on the upper tier of a multimillion-dollar mansion in Livingston, New Jersey. Specifically, the exact frame where a woman's tear-stained face frequently looked out into the driveway during the lonely midnight hours of 2018. That silent vantage point belonged to Wendy Williams, the undisputed powerhouse queen of daytime talk shows, who ruled television while wrapped in the golden illusion of a fiercely loyal marriage. In 1997, she had wed Kevin Hunter, an ambitious manager who promised to execute a protective corporate shield over both her life and career. But the relentless, crushing pressure of dominating mainstream media built an invisible enemy of emotional neglect between them. As Williams became completely consumed by her demanding broadcasting schedule, Hunter allowed his private reality to spiral into a dark parallel universe, turning to illicit affairs as a desperate survival strategy to fill an internal void. The mistress disclosure. The systemic blade of his double life shattered her curated world entirely in 2019 when a devastating headline exploded across global tabloids. Hunter had fathered a secret child with his mistress of many years, Sharon Hudson. The unyielding raw agony of the exposure transformed the talk show legend into a public joke in front of millions of her own viewers. Confronted by her frantic, broken-hearted cries inside their estate, Hunter could offer nothing but empty, repetitive apologies. Refusing to live behind invisible walls of deceit any longer, Williams channeled a fierce inner resilience, stripped him of his executive title, and officially filed for a bitter, highly publicized divorce. Their 22-year union collapsed into absolute rubble, leaving an unfillable void where an empire should have thrived, serving as a chilling reminder that the person guarding your gates can easily become a silent predator operating in the dark. The upbeat, brassy theme music of a hit daytime talk show is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the repetitive, agonizing sound of a baby crying behind the closed doors of a hidden suburban apartment. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. Mo J, the social media illusion. Look directly at a highly stylized, viral Facebook Watch broadcast from July 2020, where millions of viewers watched a picture-perfect Hollywood power couple sit face-to-face across a polished red table. To the public, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith stood wrapped in the golden illusion of an unshakable, progressive dynasty. An elite Hollywood romance that had survived beneath dazzling stage lights since 1997. But as a storytelling director, I must compel you to rip off this carefully curated corporate mask, because the broadcast itself was a calculated survival strategy designed to control an explosive sudden drop that had already dismantled their private reality. Behind their synchronized public personas lay a dark parallel universe of immense isolation that began fracturing their foundation as early as 2015. While Will was completely lost in his packed, global filming schedule, Jada was left marooned behind invisible walls of loneliness, declaring that she could no longer live entirely in her husband's massive celebrity shadow. The entanglement trap. The systemic blade of her hidden life shattered the public illusion permanently when she confessed to a secret relationship with a young singer, August Alsina, introducing the world to the clinical term entanglement to mask the raw agony of an internal marital breakdown. Sitting across from her, Will took a deep, agonizing breath, his hands clenched tightly as he attempted to maintain his composure under the crushing pressure of global public disgrace. He confessed that he, too, had failed to be there when she needed him most, exposing a marriage that had degenerated into a volatile environment of mutual neglect. Their private trauma instantly became permanent tabloid fodder, dissected by millions of onlookers who realized the golden couple's flawless image was an absolute deception. Though they ultimately chose to execute an unyielding strategy of forgiveness and stay together, the public exposure left an unfillable void where a legendary romance should have thrived, proving that even the most celebrated Hollywood dynasties can be hollowed out by an invisible enemy operating behind the velvet curtains. The thunderous, synchronized applause of a star-studded Hollywood red carpet premiere is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the quiet, mechanical whir of a single studio camera recording a tense, silent confrontation in an empty room. Eddie Murphy and Nicole Mitchell. Mode F, the inanimate observer. Look through the dark, polished leather of a well-hidden personal notebook resting at the bottom of a locked drawer inside a Malibu mansion. This inanimate object quietly recorded the slow, agonizing death of a Hollywood fairy tale. In the summer of 1993, beneath deep blue Malibu skies, comedic powerhouse Eddie Murphy and model Nicole Mitchell exchanged sacred vows, instantly stepping wrapped in the golden illusion of a flawless, elite family legacy. For years, they stood proudly beneath dazzling stage lights as an absolute symbol of success. But by 1998, a grueling corporate schedule and the crushing pressure of fame built an invisible enemy of emotional neglect between them. The leather notebook became the silent repository for Eddie's dark parallel universe, mechanically accumulating detailed records of secret midnight meetings and hidden relationships with other women while his wife was left marooned at home taking care of their children. The anniversary notebook. The systemic blade of his double life struck with absolute brutality in 2003 when Nicole stumbled upon the hidden journal. Her eyes froze on one devastating, precise entry. A detailed record proving Eddie had spent their actual wedding anniversary on an intimate date with another woman named Jessica. The sudden, earth-shattering sudden drop left Nicole completely paralyzed. She sat in total silence for an entire night, staring at the leather pages as her reality dissolved into permanent tabloid fodder. Eddie awkwardly tried to execute a corporate survival strategy, claiming his affairs were a desperate attempt to escape his own celebrity shadow and feel alive. But his excuses could not soothe the raw agony of her broken trust. Refusing to live behind invisible walls of deception any longer, Nicole officially filed for a bitter divorce, which was finalized in 2006. The marriage collapsed into an unfillable void, proving that the most glamorous public images can be utterly hollowed out by a silent predator operating in the dark. The infectious, joyful laughter of a classic Hollywood blockbuster comedy is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the dry, rhythmic sound of a single pen scratching a signature onto a final divorce settlement in a quiet room. Kendu Isaacs and Mary J. Blige. Mode A, the forensic. Examine a heavily wrinkled, official financial ledger dated late 2016 from a Los Angeles family court. Specifically, the line item detailing a demanding spousal support request of over $100,000 a month. That cold piece of legal paper belonged to the universe of R&B powerhouse Mary J. Blige and her husband manager Kendu Isaacs. In 2003, they met at a major event and quickly married, wrapping their lives in the golden illusion of a perfect music industry romance. To the public, Isaacs was her protective shield, but the grueling math of her legendary career built an invisible enemy of intense isolation between them. As Blige spent exhausting months on long tours and intense recording sessions, Isaacs allowed his private reality to spiral into a dark parallel universe, turning to a young, alluring mistress as a survival strategy to fill his growing loneliness. The backstage betrayal. The systemic blade of his double life triggered a devastating sudden drop in 2014 when Blige checked Isaac's phone and unearthed a string of highly affectionate text messages sent directly to the other woman. Her furious screams shattered the quiet of their estate as she confronted him over the betrayal. Instead of offering a genuine apology, Isaacs coldly justified his infidelity, claiming he simply wanted to feel loved while she was absent. The raw agony of his selfishness turned their 13-year union into permanent tabloid fodder, leading to a bitter divorce finalized in 2016. Isaacs further deepened the public disgrace by demanding massive spousal support from the wealth she had spent a lifetime singing for. Blige ultimately transformed her intense pain into artistic triumph with her album Strength of a Woman. But the legal battle left an unfillable void, proving that the closest corporate partners can easily become a silent predator operating behind the velvet curtains. The soulful, roaring vocal run of a classic R&B heartbreak anthem is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the dry, clinical sound of a courtroom clerk aggressively stamping a final divorce decree. Iman Shumpert and Teyana Taylor. Mode H, the statistical descent. Track the cold, chronological breakdown of a high-profile marriage through a sequence of silent, legal milestones. In the summer of 2016, NBA defensive powerhouse Iman Shumpert and multi-platinum R&B powerhouse Teyana Taylor stepped wrapped in the golden illusion of an immortal Hollywood romance, celebrating a luxurious wedding in Los Angeles beneath dazzling stage lights. But the relentless physics of their careers soon began to subtract from their stability. After exactly 24 months of shared domestic life, an invisible enemy of intense isolation crept into their home. Shumpert faced the grueling downward spiral of a declining professional basketball career, resulting in long periods of absence from their household. Left marooned behind invisible walls of absolute loneliness, Taylor was forced to manage their high-profile family entirely alone. To cope with the immense, crushing pressure of his fading athletic stardom, Shumpert turned to a dark parallel universe, executing a desperate corporate survival strategy by engaging in hidden, emotional conversations with various women online. The silent legal exit. By the year 2020, the mathematical weight of these hidden chats triggered an explosive wave of highly publicized infidelity rumors across global tabloids. Every single night that Shumpert spent away from home multiplied Taylor's internal raw agony, transforming her into a tragic shadow within her own household. During a tense, dim confrontation, Shumpert frantically tried to weaponize the intense professional pressure of his career to justify the emotional distance, desperately swearing that he still loved her. But his repetitive explanations offered zero protection against her deep-seated heartbreak. The definitive, earth-shattering sudden drop occurred on January 23, 2023, when Taylor secretly filed for divorce, explicitly citing a relentless pattern of cruel treatment. She successfully executed a hidden legal strategy to conceal the filing for exactly 10 months to protect her children from public disgrace, leaving an unfillable void where a golden dynasty should have thrived. The rhythmic, high-energy squeak of basketball sneakers on a polished hardwood court is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the muffled, rhythmic ticking of an empty grandfather clock in a silent living room. Robin Thicke and Paula Patton. Mode C, the immersive witness. Look at the chaotic backstage corridor of a major New York venue during a sweltering summer music festival, where you stand caught in a swirling crowd of elite industry figures, security guards, and frantic publicists. You look over and see pop powerhouse Robin Thicke wrapped in the golden illusion of unprecedented international fame, his chart-topping music dominating global airwaves, while he stands proudly beneath the forgiving spotlight. At his side is his beautiful actress wife, Paula Patton. The two of them celebrated as an absolute Hollywood fairy tale since their dream wedding in 2005. But as a close witness to the industry's dark undercurrents, you can feel an invisible enemy of unchecked ego and immense temptation hijacking his reality behind the scenes. The moment his fame skyrocketed, Thicke surrendered to a dark parallel universe, choosing to step into a hidden, seductive relationship with a young woman while away on tour. The Unforgiven Ballad. The systemic blade of public exposure struck with absolute brutality in February 2014, when intimate, highly compromising photos of Thicke with other women exploded across global tabloids, triggering a devastating sudden drop. You can practically feel the raw agony vibrating through the air during their final, tense confrontation inside their estate, where Paula stood with utter disappointment and coldly declared that she could no longer love a man she could no longer trust. Her sharp words shattered both their hearts, breaking the final strings of their long-term union. In a desperate public survival strategy to control the disgrace, Thicke recorded an entire studio album named Paula, explicitly weaponizing his public remorse through every single song to beg for a second chance. But his creative apologies offered zero protection against her permanent heartbreak. Paula officially walked away for good, leaving an unfillable void in his personal life and proving that when trust is completely executed by deceit, even the most beautiful ballad cannot piece the rubble back together. The upbeat, seductive acoustic intro of a massive global pop anthem is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the repetitive, lonely skip of a scratched vinyl record playing in a completely empty room. Shaquille O'Neal and Shawnee Henderson. Modi, the paradox of peaks. Step onto the hardwood floor of an NBA arena during the early 2000s, where a 7'1" basketball powerhouse is dominating the sport, winning consecutive world championships and securing a legacy as one of the most destructive athletes in history. Shaquille O'Neal stood wrapped in the golden illusion of absolute invincibility, earning millions of dollars while his beautiful, intelligent wife, Shawnee, anchored their high-profile family from the sidelines. They stood proudly beneath dazzling stage lights, universally celebrated as the ultimate symbol of a perfect, bulletproof Hollywood marriage. But this monumental peak of athletic and personal supremacy stood in brutal contrast to a dark parallel universe developing behind the scenes. The moment fame pushed Shaquille to the absolute zenith of global celebrity culture, he stepped straight into a volatile environment of lavish parties and immense temptation. In 2005, a hidden relationship with a young woman ignited a silent predator of infidelity that he frantically tried to execute a strategy to conceal. The remorse of a giant. The systemic blade of public exposure triggered a devastating, earth-shattering sudden drop by the end of 2007. Rumors of his double life became permanent tabloid fodder, making it entirely impossible to maintain their curated public mask any longer. When Shawnee officially confronted him with the irrefutable evidence, their seemingly unbreakable love story instantly crumbled into absolute rubble. Shaquille was left completely paralyzed by a deep-seated guilt, realizing that his actions had subjected his family to unyielding raw agony. They officially finalized their bitter divorce in 2009, fracturing the family empire forever. In a desperate corporate survival strategy to control the public disgrace and plead for a second chance, the sports icon released a deeply personal album, explicitly weaponizing his public remorse to apologize to his ex-wife. But his creative apologies offered zero protection against her permanent heartbreak, leaving a permanent, unfillable void where a legendary partnership should have thrived. The thunderous, roaring cheers of a packed stadium shouting a superstar's name are compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the quiet, mechanical echo of a single pen signing a final divorce decree in a deserted office. Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. Mode G, the psychological ghost, descend into the fractured, shadow-drenched corridors of a creative genius's mind, where a silent predator of paranoia and intense emotional instability began quietly dismantling a global empire from within. In 2014, hip-hop powerhouse Kanye West and media titan Kim Kardashian stepped wrapped in the golden illusion of an immortal Hollywood union, celebrated worldwide as the ultimate power couple. They stood beneath dazzling stage lights, manipulating culture and commanding millions. But a dark parallel universe hijacked his reality in 2016 when West suffered a severe, highly publicized mental breakdown, unleashing a wave of uncontrollable behavior that left Kim completely exhausted behind invisible walls of marital duty. The crushing pressure of his erratic genius built an invisible enemy between them, transforming their pristine household into a volatile environment of isolation and hidden resentment. The text message collapse. The systemic blade of his internal chaos drove him to seek a dangerous escape from his own celebrity shadow. In 2018, West surrendered to the immense temptations of the music industry, stepping into a secret relationship with a young woman. Ambiguous text messages and late-night digital conversations slowly replaced the sweet foundations of their marriage, triggering Kim's sharp intuition. The definitive, earth-shattering sudden drop erupted in 2020 when she witnessed the harsh truth of his betrayal firsthand, shattering their curated public persona into permanent tabloid fodder. The raw agony of his duplicity left Kim with an unyielding heartbreak, forcing her to execute a final survival strategy. They officially finalized their divorce in 2022, carrying unhealable scars and leaving an unfillable void where a cultural dynasty should have thrived, proving that when a soul fractures in the dark, not even a billion-dollar empire can piece it back together. The distorted, high-energy synthesizer intro of a stadium-status rap anthem is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the clinical, repetitive hum of a hospital heart monitor flatlining in an empty room. Neo and Crystal Renee. Mode A, the forensic. Analyze a searing, raw text block uploaded to an official Instagram page on a sweltering evening in late July 2022, Specifically, the words 8 years of lies and deception, written in a bold, stark white font against a completely black background. That explosive digital document belonged to Crystal Renee, the wife of R&B powerhouse Ne-Yo, who chose to shatter the golden illusion of her marriage in front of millions of internet onlookers. In 2016, they had stepped beneath dazzling stage lights for a lavish, multi-million-dollar wedding that was universally envied by the entertainment world. But behind the scenes, a silent predator of immense temptation hijacked his reality. As Ne-Yo traveled for high-profile tours, he surrendered to a dark parallel universe of wild parties and late-night bashes, leaving his wife completely marooned behind invisible walls of marital isolation. The public exposure, the systemic blade of his hidden lifestyle, triggered a devastating sudden drop when Crystal unearthed a highly compromising text message on his phone. The discovery felt like a physical knife to her heart, exposing a relentless cycle of infidelity with multiple women across their entire relationship. Refusing to endure the raw agony of his deceit in secret any longer, Crystal executed a calculated survival strategy by publicly exposing his serial affairs to the world before officially filing for divorce in 2020. Ne-Yo tried to manage the public disgrace by issuing a frantic public apology in 2022, begging for a second chance to fix the rubble. Though a deep-seated love drove them to remarry in a private ceremony, the grand romance was entirely gone, replaced by a tense, fragile environment. Their toxic cycle left an unfillable void where a sacred bond should have lived, proving that when trust is repeatedly executed by lies, a second wedding is merely a shell masking permanent heartbreak. The smooth, melodic opening chord of a hit contemporary R&B love song is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the sharp, metallic alert tone of a single screenshot being taken on a smartphone in a dark room. Usher and Tamika Foster. Mode B, the reverse tragedy. Look at the fierce, high-stakes child custody battles filling family courtrooms in late 2009, where R&B icon Usher and his ex-wife, Tamika Foster, faced off amid an unfillable void of public disgrace and mutual resentment. This bitter ending stood in brutal, heartbreaking contrast to the summer of 2007, when they were wrapped in the golden illusion of an elite, lavish wedding that made the entire entertainment industry look on in absolute envy. But the intense pressure of maintaining global pop dominance built an invisible enemy of emotional distance right from the absolute beginning. Only 12 months after exchanging sacred vows beneath dazzling stage lights, Usher chose to step into a dark parallel universe, surrendering to endless backstage temptations and extramarital affairs, while his devoted wife was left marooned at home. The phone exposure, the systemic blade of his hidden life, slashed through her endurance entirely when Tamika discovered a string of highly suspicious, blatant messages on his phone. Her furious screams shattered the quiet of their estate as she confronted him over the betrayal, demanding to know if he truly believed she was too blind to notice his deceit. Instead of executing a genuine strategy of accountability, the music powerhouse remained completely silent, leaving her to endure the raw agony of an unraveling home life alone. His hidden liaisons had devolved from fleeting, momentary flings into serious, long-term secret relationships that left Tamika feeling as though her heart had been physically torn apart. Witnessing an explosive sudden drop in their respect, she officially filed for divorce in 2009. Their relationship became permanent tabloid fodder, leaving behind a scarred legacy and a painful reminder that even the most celebrated pop royalty can hollow out a marriage from the dark. The upbeat, heavy bass line of a global club anthem is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the cold, metallic echo of a courtroom clerk stamping a stack of legal custody papers in absolute silence. Carmelo Anthony and Lala Anthony. Mode D, the systemic critique. Witness how the relentless, hyper-masculine culture of professional sports operates as a systemic blade, weaponizing immense fame to sever an elite Hollywood connection. In the public eye, NBA powerhouse Carmelo Anthony and brilliant media personality Lala Anthony stood wrapped in the golden illusion of an unshakable, iconic partnership, anchored by a magnificent, star-studded wedding. But the corporate architecture of modern athletic celebrity builds invisible walls of isolation around a marriage from the absolute beginning. In 2016, while Carmelo's basketball career soared to monumental peaks, the industry surrounded him with a volatile environment of lavish parties and endless temptations. While Lala was completely consumed by her own demanding broadcasting projects, Carmelo surrendered to a dark parallel universe, treating his sacred family foundations as a secondary priority. The irrefutable evidence. This silent predator triggered an earth-shattering sudden drop in 2017 when Lala unearthed a mountain of irrefutable digital evidence right on Carmelo's phone. Staring at explicit texts, intimate pictures, and detailed records of long-term hidden relationships, her curated world dissolved into permanent tabloid fodder. Carmelo tried to execute a frantic, weak survival strategy, claiming his serial infidelity was merely a momentary lapse under immense professional pressure. But his excuses offered zero protection against the raw agony of her broken trust. Though a deep-seated love kept them temporarily caught in a fragile cycle of separation and hesitation, the unyielding heartbreak made it impossible to fully repair the rubble. Realizing she was fighting for their legacy entirely alone, Lala officially filed for divorce in early 2021, leaving a permanent, unfillable void where a legendary basketball dynasty should have lived. The thunderous, echoic screech of a basketball sneaker sliding across a polished hardwood court is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the dull, hollow tone of a cell phone vibrating incessantly on a cold glass table. Jay-Z and Beyoncé. Mode I, the ripple of one choice, traced the near collapse of hip-hop's most formidable empire back to a single, hidden decision made in the dark corridors of corporate fame, where an icon chose to compromise his marital vows. In the summer of 2016, under the blazing neon lights of the global entertainment landscape, hip-hop powerhouse Jay-Z and pop queen Beyoncé suddenly saw their world fall into total darkness. They had spent over a decade wrapped in the golden illusion of absolute cultural supremacy, universally admired as the ultimate, bulletproof power couple. But the quiet choice to indulge in a secret, parallel universe of infidelity invited a silent predator into their kingdom, forcing Beyoncé to confront a cruel and devastating truth. When she unzipped his private life and unearthed irrefutable evidence of his betrayal, her curated reality collapsed into an unyielding pool of heartbreak. The artistic confrontation, the resulting sudden drop, did not play out behind closed doors, but was aggressively executed through the medium of global pop culture. Her voice trembling with raw agony, Beyoncé channeled her deep-seated pain directly into the artistic weaponization of her 2016 visual album, Lemonade. Through her lyrics, she publicly rejected his excuses and declared that his apologies were simply not enough, subjecting him to a massive wave of global public disgrace. Confronted by the explosive musical backlash, Jay-Z faced a profound, internal crisis, admitting that he had lost his way in the blinding glare of his own celebrity shadow. He chose to execute a counter-survival strategy by releasing his raw, apologetic album 444 in 2017, publicly begging for forgiveness and acknowledging the severe wounds he had caused. Their painful creative dialogue became permanent tabloid fodder, but it successfully built a bridge toward genuine healing. Over years of intense reconstruction, they fought a constant battle to save what they had built, filling an unfillable void and proving that not even a billion-dollar empire can survive without a relentless commitment to truth. The majestic, booming stadium horns of a global pop anthem are compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the raw, lonely acoustic strumming of a single blues guitar playing in a dark studio. Offset and Cardi B. Mode J, the social media illusion. Look through the vibrant, high-fashion filter of an Instagram Live broadcast in the summer of 2020, where multi-platinum powerhouse couple Cardi B and Offset flashed diamond-encrusted jewelry and luxury vehicles to millions of adoring fans. They stood wrapped in the golden illusion of a modern, street royalty rap dynasty, completely dominating global music charts under dazzling stage lights. But as a storytelling director, I must compel you to tear off this heavily curated corporate mask, because behind their synchronized digital posts lay a dark parallel universe driven by an invisible enemy of recurring deception. The systemic blade of internet scrutiny shattered their home life completely when irrefutable evidence of Offset's serial infidelity leaked onto public forums, exposing a painful reality that left Cardi B utterly breathless and paralyzed with a deep-seated betrayal. The divorce filing drama. This sudden, earth-shattering sudden drop forced the Bronx-born superstar into a volatile environment of immense public disgrace. Her frantic, tearful screams shattered the quiet of their Atlanta mansion as she confronted her husband over cheating multiple times, demanding to know how he could execute such a ruthless betrayal against their young family. Offset stood completely frozen, his eyes filled with fear as his elaborate web of lies dissolved into permanent tabloid fodder. Refusing to endure the raw agony of his duplicity any longer, Cardi B executed a definitive survival strategy by officially filing for divorce, coldly declaring that she could no longer live a lie. Yet, the unyielding complexity of their bond refused to let him go. After sleepless nights and intense, private conversations behind closed doors, Cardi B withdrew the legal petition, choosing to offer a fragile second chance to her husband, while acknowledging that an unfillable void still lingered within their fractured paradise. The high-energy, rattling bass trap beat of a chart-topping rap collaboration is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the repetitive, cold echo of an automated smartphone screen lock clicking in a dark, empty room. Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. Mode B, the reverse tragedy. Look at the modern red carpets of 2026, where actress Gabrielle Union and NBA powerhouse Dwayne Wade pose with a highly coordinated, flawless family image for the cameras. This current picture of stability stands in brutal contrast to the absolute darkness that hijacked their lives at the end of 2013. Back then, their seemingly unbreakable bond suffered an explosive, devastating sudden drop that sent shockwaves through the entire entertainment industry. While they were temporarily separated due to the grueling pressures of work and global fame, Wade entered a secret, dark parallel universe, engaging in an affair that resulted in a child with another woman. The golden illusion of their high-profile romance was instantly executed, leaving Union trapped behind invisible walls of immense public disgrace. The secret photo drop. The systemic blade of his hidden life struck with absolute brutality on the day Union received a shocking, irrefutable photo from a close friend, proving that Wade had fathered a new life outside their union. Her frantic, heartbroken screams shattered the quiet of her world as she endured the raw agony of a betrayal that felt like it would never truly fade. The next day, Wade admitted everything, his voice filled with regret as he faced his wife. But his words offered zero protection against the rubble he had caused. Rather than walking away, Union chose to execute an unyielding corporate survival strategy. After months of agonizing conversations behind closed doors, she decided to give him a fragile second chance. They worked together to heal the deep wounds and rebuild a sense of trust. But the public exposure left an unfillable void where a pure romance once lived, proving that the scars of a secret life remain permanent tabloid fodder long after the couple chooses to stay. The high-energy, squeaking sneakers and roaring crowd of an elite basketball stadium are compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the repetitive, cold crinkling of a single printed photograph being dropped onto a glass table in a silent room. Kevin Hart and Eniko Parrish. Eniko Hart. Mode A, the forensic, study a grainy, low-light video thumbnail from an anonymous entertainment website in the spring of 2017. Specifically, the silhouette of a globally celebrated comedic powerhouse huddled in the back seat of a luxury vehicle in Miami. That highly damaging digital evidence belonged to Kevin Hart, who was caught wrapped in a dark parallel universe of illicit, late-night interactions with another woman while his wife, Eniko Parrish, was at home pregnant with their first child. To the mainstream public, the couple stood wrapped in the golden illusion of a flawless, joy-filled Hollywood romance. But the crushing pressure of maintaining global comedic supremacy built an invisible enemy of emotional neglect within their pristine estate. The systemic blade of internet culture shattered their domestic peace in an instant when the footage leaked online, exposing a painful reality that left Eniko completely breathless during the most sensitive period of her life. The public confession. This sudden, earth-shattering sudden drop forced the comic icon into an immediate survival strategy. Flustered and gripped by deep-seated remorse, Hart recorded a frantic public apology on his social media platforms, weeping that he had severely hurt his family and desperately begging for a chance to fix the rubble. Iniko was forced to endure the raw agony of his duplicity as it became permanent tabloid fodder for millions of onlookers. Yet, demonstrating an unyielding inner resilience, she ultimately chose to forgive him, refusing to let her unborn son grow up in a broken home. By the end of 2017, they welcomed their son Kenzo, choosing to heal their deep wounds together. Their complicated reconciliation allowed them to step back beneath a forgiving spotlight, but the public exposure left an unfillable void where absolute trust once lived. The thunderous, roaring laughter of a packed stadium comedy tour is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the sharp, repetitive digital camera clicks of paparazzi surrounding a pregnant woman walking in absolute silence. Ayumi Udoka and Nia Long. Mode D, the systemic critique. Look directly through the corporate glass of professional sports franchises to witness how an unchecked descent into elite power acts as a systemic blade, destroying a beloved Hollywood romance from within. For over a decade, iconic actress Nia Long and powerhouse basketball coach Ayumi Udoka stood wrapped in the golden illusion of absolute fidelity and mutual respect, admired across the entire entertainment world. But the high-stakes environment of professional basketball builds invisible walls of isolation around a relationship. In 2022, just as Udoka reached a monumental peak of cultural and athletic supremacy by leading his team to the finals, he stepped into a dark parallel universe. He allowed his private life to degenerate into a volatile environment of hidden desires, engaging in a secret relationship with a staff member from his own basketball organization. The team suspensions. This silent predator triggered a devastating, earth-shattering sudden drop that exploded across global tabloids when the franchise uncovered the illicit affair. Long was forced to confront the brutal reality firsthand, discovering that the man she had loved and trusted for over 10 years had completely executed their foundation. Her frantic, heartbroken cries shattered the quiet of her world as she demanded to know how he could be so cruel. Full of public embarrassment and late-night regret, Udoka offered empty apologies, but his words could not soothe the raw agony of her shattered trust. The relationship collapsed into absolute rubble, and the franchise officially executed an invisible punishment by suspending him indefinitely. Their toxic breakup became permanent tabloid fodder, leaving an unfillable void in their decade-long legacy and proving that the most celebrated unions can completely unravel when secrets are dragged out into the harsh glare of public judgment. The rhythmic, repetitive squeak of basketball sneakers on a polished court is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the cold, definitive click of a corporate stadium door being locked in absolute silence. T.I. and Tamika Cottle. Mode J, the social media illusion. Look through the bold, flashing filter of a reality television broadcast celebrating Atlanta hip-hop royalty, where a picture-perfect public persona masks a toxic marriage crumbling under the weight of severe distrust. To the mainstream public, trap music powerhouse T.I. and his multi-platinum singer-wife, Tiny Harris, stood wrapped in the golden illusion of an unshakable, supportive entertainment dynasty. They stood beneath dazzling stage lights for years, celebrated as symbols of absolute cultural success. But as a storytelling director, I compel you to pierce this glamorous corporate mask, because behind their synchronized red carpet smiles lay a dark parallel universe where financial deceit and hidden relationships were silently creeping into their home life. Late one night in a lavish mansion in Atlanta, the dim light reflected in Tiny's eyes as she sat alone on a sofa, reading a series of rumors circulating on social media. Accusations from strangers along with evidence of infidelity and financial fraud pushed her relationship with T.I. to the brink. Her heart shattered as suspicions about her husband were no longer rumors, but an undeniable truth. The dismissed petition, the systemic blade of his hidden lifestyle, triggered a devastating sudden drop that exploded across global tabloids. T.I. couldn't explain why he did it. He understood he had done wrong but simply surrendered to temptations beyond his control, unable to fathom why there were moments when he couldn't stop. After everything exploded, Tiny decided to execute a survival strategy by leaving him, choosing to take space to think about the future. They separated in 2016, forcing her to endure the raw agony of an unraveling home life. Yet, the unyielding complexity of their bond refused to let him go. The turmoil in their lives couldn't diminish the deep-seated love between them. In the end, the couple worked intensely to repair their marriage and officially dismissed the divorce petition in 2017. Their chaotic cycle left an unfillable void where absolute peace once lived, proving that the scars of a double life remain permanent tabloid fodder long after a golden couple chooses to stay. The high-energy, heavy 808 bass line of an Atlanta trap anthem is compressed and violently sliced open, instantly replaced by the quiet, heavy click of a single mansion light switch being turned off in absolute silence. 23 transcendent powerhouses, 23 monumental peaks of cultural supremacy, and 23 devastating sudden drops into isolation or public disgrace have exposed an unyielding reality. Behind the golden illusion of picture-perfect public personas, these icons were complex human beings forced to confront an invisible enemy and endure raw agony in the dark, navigating an era dominated by intense pressure and prejudice. Their fierce resilience taught a generation how to fight, how to love, and how to survive. We must look past the glamorous velvet curtains of Hollywood and honor the raw, thorny corners of their true identities. Which icon's journey left you the most haunted, or inspired you to walk with a higher sense of pride? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, share this story to shatter the silence, and subscribe to the channel as we continue to unearth the unfiltered truths of the legends who dared to shine.